Hello everyone, welcome to AvgJoeWatchReviews, where we do more than just reviews, and I have here a special guest, J City Reviews.
Hey everybody.
You wanted to tell the subscribers a little bit about yourself?
Sure, just an average Joe, like average Joe here, and we found out that we live in the same general area, so we contacted each other and got together today. But basically, in everyday life, I'm a minister, a church planter in Philadelphia, and I do some odd jobs on the side. I'm also a family man, have 5 kids actually, so that keeps me busy.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, when I found out that Josh here was from Philly, we can use your name, right?
Sure.
Okay. I said, you know what, let's do a collaboration. And he agreed, and here we are at a local park, and we got a great backdrop here. And today we're going to just talk about 3 inspirational watches in our collection and the stories behind it. So let's get started. All right, Josh, so let's get started with your collection here. You brought 3 watches here. Wanted to see, get the story behind it. So what's the first one you want to present to us?
First watch that is influential in my life is this simple, cheap Casio ProTrek PRG 270. It's a watch that comes in a lot of different colorways, and you can find it for about $100, $120 most places. But it's a tough watch, and the reason it's influential in my life is because it's one of the first watches that got me into watches, and I've had this watch for over 5 years now. And this used to be the only watch I owned. I would wear it everywhere, doing everything. It's very beat up, but
yeah, I
was at the time looking for a tactical style watch. So this is all blacked out and has held up for these 5+ years. It's solar powered.
So I noticed,
yeah,
it has a lot of different functions on there. It's an
Yeah.
altimeter,
Yeah.
barometer, a compass. Like,
right.
What doesn't it do? Does it wash your car?
Yeah, you might think so, but it definitely has high functionality, a lot going on, which is nice. I don't use half the stuff, but it's nice to have peace of mind if I ever get lost in the woods that I have a compass, you know, something like that. And it's solar powered. It's going to last you 20+ years, and it's just, you know, Casio tough, shock resistant.
And you guys know, any subscriber of the channel knows I'm a big fan of Casio, and we all know how tough even a $10 Casio is. So
that's right.
I'm a new fan of Casio just this year. So the tough solar collection, don't even have to change the battery.
That's right.
That's a really awesome watch there.
Yep, that's my first one.
Awesome.
How about you, Joe? What's the first one you brought today?
So, believe it or not, I wouldn't buy a Fossil today. Not that I'm a snob or anything, but that does sound kind of snobby, doesn't it? But my first watch was indeed a Fossil, and this is actually a Big Tick. So this watch actually has the seconds in the background, which you can't see today because this watch requires 2 batteries. So the story behind this watch was, I was in high school, and I remember seeing this in a jewelry store. And I just thought it was pretty neat. It was very unique. I'm a big fan of unique watches. Yeah. And this is the watch that started my watch passion. Nice. So the significance behind this is that this is actually my first watch, and not only just being my first watch, but I still own it.
Right.
And it's priceless.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Fossil. It's not that expensive.
How many years do you think you've had it now?
This watch, believe it or not, I've had this watch since I was at least in senior in high school. So, and I'm 42 now. So that's the first time I'm revealing my age on the channel. So we're looking at 20+ years. This watch is, and it is held up pretty well. You can see some wearing there.
Sure.
But I mean, for a 20+ year old Fossil,
it's great shape.
Great shape, right?
Yeah.
So
it's a unique design. The bracelet itself having those solid portions like that, and then the links.
Right.
Very, very unique, and even the case shape and everything, really, really unique.
I think the quality of this watch surpasses the current Fossils, in my opinion. Just, I mean, if you touch it, feel it, it's just
solid.
It's solid.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's lasted 20+ years with really it doesn't look that old, right?
No.
So yeah, definitely a significant watch. And also, this watch used to be mistaken, believe it or not, for the ever so famous Movado, because of just a very simplistic look to it.
Yeah.
So, a story, real quick story. A friend of mine was across the street, and I had my arm out of the window, and he's like, "Is that a Movado?" And I didn't even know what a Movado was then. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And then he got closer. He's like, "Oh, that's a fossil."
Yeah.
But then, of course, I had to find out what a Movado was.
Yeah.
And then I think you know what my opinion of Movado is today.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of a funny comparison. So
Yeah. Nice
there's
piece.
the fossil. Yeah.
Nice.
So you brought a second piece.
Yep.
And it looks like a Nighthawk.
Yeah, this is a Citizen Nighthawk, very popular watch. It's a pilot watch, aviation watch. It has inner rotating bezel where you can do different calculations. And when I was first starting to lust after other watches after I got this, the Pro Trek, I was looking for something that I could wear every day, but also could pass as a dress watch if I wanted it to. So that's where the mesh bracelet comes in. This one has a very nice mesh
deploying
bracelet.
clasp,
Yeah, the deploying clasp.
I even noticed there's like individual links within the mesh.
Right. Yep. It allows you to take out some links there, and,
Neat.
and they're scored to look like the mesh bracelet itself. So it's just it's a unique piece. It's another solar powered watch that'll last you 20 plus years, hopefully. Screw down crown, 200 meters water resistance, and just a unique design that can be worn casually every day or in dressier situations.
So what I like about this watch, I just noticed as you were describing it, it's got a lot of brushing, which is it's actually a very expensive process in comparison to just chroming everything out.
Sure.
So very nice detail, and also look at that knurled crown. And also it's got that plane. It's got an airplane as a second hand, which is
a neat
really
detail.
really neat. I've actually always wanted to own one of these, so maybe well, this is too significant for him, so I'm not even going to talk about trades, but this actually kind of rekindled my love for the Nighthawk.
Yep.
But I'm a big fan of eco drives.
Yeah.
Don't have to change the battery for, I don't know, 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
So
solar powered, it's a good way to go.
that's a beautiful watch, man.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Number 2 for you. We looked at these
Prior
off
to
camera,
yep.
and this next piece is really unique.
Cool. So it is the Seiko Archer Kinetic. So the significance behind this watch is basically this is where I first got my love for Seiko. The Archer Kinetics are really not a well-known series amongst Seiko junkies, right? I mean,
I never heard of it.
You never heard of it, right?
Yeah.
But yet, this watch I've had for at least 15 years now.
Nice.
And as you take a look at this watch, it is really solidly built.
Yeah.
It is a kinetic, so when you shake it back and forth, there's actually a rotor that goes over these copper wires, and it charges the battery. Never replaced the battery, and it's just got this unique look to it.
Yeah.
The significance is that I saw this at a mall. I was with friends, and we did the whole mall thing. That was just what we did. And I was like, wow, this is a neat looking watch. I asked the jeweler how much it was.
$675.
I was like,
a little pricey.
no thanks, a little bit too pricey, I'll never own this. Well, guess what? One day afterwards, I definitely was able to make a good enough living and get one of these guys. So that's why it's significant, because it's something that I didn't think was obtainable that I was actually able to obtain. So
Mind if I take a peek at it?
absolutely, and I actually changed the metal bracelet for an aftermarket strap.
It's just such a unique case design, and of course the lugs are not your typical lugs. You need a special bracelet to go into this, but I just love how it's fluid and everything flows together and is connected. And the chronograph, I was trying this out off camera. This over 15-year-old watch, everything works.
You feel the pusher,
flawlessly,
how stiff
and
that is. It's
just
very precise.
Snaps back
Got the
like
snapback. Very quality watch.
that. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I could see myself wearing this for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, maybe one day, since we're now friends.
Yeah.
So That's awesome. Number 3 on the list. It looks like it looks vintage, but is it truly?
Yeah.
It's a Seiko.
You know, it's another Seiko. So a Seiko after a Seiko. This is a Seiko 5 Sports. Leave the model number in the description. I don't remember exactly what it is, but a very popular watch. You can find tons of videos on YouTube about it. Different colorways. I got the black and gold and yellow. But this is significant to me because it was my first automatic watch.
With the exhibition case back as well.
Exposition case back.
Exhibition.
Exhibition.
Case back. Now, what do you usually call it? Because people have different names for it. Some
Yeah.
people say see-through case backs.
Yeah, I think it doesn't really matter, you know.
I don't think you like the word exhibition.
I was having a
so
hard
you can
time
call it
saying
whatever
that
you
one.
want.
But it's, you know, I love the see-through case back, being able to see the movement, see how things are working, see that mainspring, turning there, and it's just, you know, as my first automatic watch, a dive watch of sorts. But I also feel like I can wear this in dress situations.
Right.
I've worn it with a suit and tie, and I think I can get by with that. Maybe some of you might disagree, but
no, you absolutely can. It's got that because it's got the gold in it, and you know, I know some people they can argue that dive watches aren't dress watches, but you can totally dress them up.
Yeah.
Even if you put like a leather strap on that.
yeah,
Can you imagine? That would pop. Yeah. That would dress it up a little bit as well.
So this is not an expensive watch by any means. I think you can find these on Amazon for $150 or maybe even a little bit less, and so
Definitely reasonable.
Reasonable, but high quality, and of course Seiko is a brand that you can trust and is reliable for sure.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I like about this piece, besides just the gold accents, is the bezel itself. I asked him if it was ceramic from afar, but as I look closely at it, it actually looks like it has like a sapphire crystal on top of the bezel.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? That's really neat. Bezel action, it's got that typical Seiko bezel action.
Yep.
You know, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. It's somewhere in the middle, right? I always call it like a kind of a spongy feel.
Yeah, yeah.
But it does have that 120 click. It's not that.
I believe so.
It's not that 60.
No.
No. Clicks going all the way around, but it's.
I know the crystal has a slight dome to it too. It's a hard Lex crystal. It's not sapphire, so I'd be surprised.
It's also beveled.
It's beveled.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's pretty unique. You turn it at different angles, you can get some distortion there.
Right.
But I'm not sure what is on the bezel. I'm sure it's not sapphire for the price of the watch.
Could be a mineral, but it's definitely some type of like crystal on top of the.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I've never seen that before. Very unique, and I like that because it's scratch resistant. Which leads me into the watch here.
Number
3, which I have a problem wearing this everywhere. This is the Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean. Definitely my grail piece.
Nice.
But this, I wish that this had a ceramic bezel, but considering the age of it, this is a 2011.
Okay.
They did the painted aluminum.
Okay.
So I am very careful where I wear these, because you can scratch the aluminum and scratch the paint off, whereas this guy here, definitely more scratch resistant. So I give Seiko some credit there. But the significance behind this is that my fiance wanted to always get me an Omega ever since we met, because Omega is associated with the Olympics. She's a big Olympic fan, and Omega is the official timekeeper of the Olympics.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So she got me the triple date, which was an older version of a Seamaster. And I enjoyed the watch, but it was very hard to keep the time because it was day, date, and even so it was the day of the week, it was the month, and the date as on the hand. And then you had the chronograph function, and then you had the time, and they were all the same color hands. So I could never tell the time. So somehow I was able to make a trade where I was able to contact someone whose brother was selling one of these, which I remember seeing this in a store again, and I was like, "There's no way I'm paying $5,000 for this watch. There's no way I'm ever going to own this watch." Well, guess what? I have it now. And I didn't pay $5,000.
Yeah.
I was able to trade the triple date and throw in a little bit of cash to obtain this Grail piece, and I love it. Awesome. I really do.
I have to be honest, this is the first time I've held an Omega in person. Well, off camera was the first time, but just an amazing quality piece. The quality of Omega, you know, it's hard to surpass it, and just the brand history of Omega. I have some Omegas on my Grail list, and it's neat, and I'm happy to hold it in person because I thought the Seamaster, and this is the Planet Ocean.
Planet Ocean.
I thought it was a lot bigger from the videos I've seen, but seeing it in person, the size is more reasonable for someone with smaller wrists like mine. And so, having tried it on, I think it fits perfect. And what is the case size? 41? Is that
so?
What
It's a 41 millimeter in 2011, but if you buy one today, they're in a 43 to 45.
So they did get bigger.
They did get bigger.
Okay.
So you weren't wrong with that.
Okay.
Because this is a 2011 version. I do like the fact that it is a smaller version because it actually is within the. It fits my wrist perfectly. I think a 45 would be too big.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And I love the bezel action on this.
Very
one
precise.
too.
Now have you seen pictures of these, like the orange? How does the orange look in person to you?
I don't know if I've seen pictures of the orange.
Okay.
But in person, it looks great.
I think it has faded a little bit, which gives it a little bit of a uniqueness. You're probably not going to find another one that looks exactly the same because the sun does fade it. But I do like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's not as vibrant.
The loom, even when I just cup it over under my hand, the loom is popping on it.
Yeah.
And,
super lumen
really
over.
nice
The
watch.
best loom I have in my collection by far.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Well, Josh, I really do appreciate you coming on, and I think this collaboration is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining us. If you aren't already following Josh at J City Reviews, the guy has quality content. He's got some awesome watches. He's got just a really, really detailed perspective on his watch reviews. So please go over and subscribe to his channel.
Thank you.
Give his videos a like and just really support the guy. He's really a nice guy, and we've really developed this great friendship now, and expect to see him more on the channel. I can promise you that. So, and always remember, Josh, that there's always time to be kind to one another. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Average Joe Watch Reviews.
See you later.